Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. I shall see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today where, you know, if you're a Genshin Impact player, you're welcome to Sumeru. I don't know where the stress goes on words. I'm going to be honest, you know. It's one of those things where it's like you don't actually think about it unless you're probably a linguist or something. I'm trying to think of a good example of a word, like contract or contract, you know, how it changes the meaning of a word depending where you put the stress on. Weird, isn't it? And that's coming from, you know, me who can kind of speak Chinese, where that's an entirely tonal language. I guess that's kind of, you know, I never really thought about it. I guess that's kind of a similarity there. Anyway, that was like three topics in one conversation, but hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 5:12 PM on Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. This is Gulliver, has washed up on the beach, and we may or may not ignore him, or we'll see how it goes. Did I remember to turn around my microphone? Is it the right way around? It is the right way around, don't you worry. Tightened the screws now on my microphone stand, so it should fall over far less often. I don't know why it took me so long. I just kind of forgot about it, and then, you know, just yesterday I was like, oh yeah, I should probably do that, and now I've done it. I don't really know what to talk about today, to be perfectly honest. I could talk about Sumeru and Genshin Impact, but I'm not going to. I'm not a Genshin Impact channel. There already are quite a few if you want to get all that news. I played a bit of it. It's pretty cool. Is all I can say so far. It's quite welcoming, which is a bit of a rare surprise. You know, if things haven't like kicked off yet, at least what I've gotten into. I could talk about other gaming news. Oh, you know, Verm's Fighting Herds, the first DLC character has been teased. You know, ever since Shanti is no longer a DLC character, she's been like integrated into the main cast. We've got the first DLC proper character coming from their not battle pass, but their like upcoming fighter pass or something. It's Texas, who I don't actually know who they are, but I think they're Arizona's father. That's pretty cool. They look pretty different as well. You might be like, who do you want to see be brought to life in Verm's Fighting Herds? I don't really know. I think there already is a Ditto as a reindeer. So, you know, I can't really use it. If you don't know what Verm's Fighting Herds is, a fighting game with one of the best game systems I've ever seen with the dynamic music system is the coolest game mechanic I've ever seen in any game. But anyway, it's a game where basically all the fighters are like quadruped animals. I'm not sure if that's quite maybe like ungulates might be the right word. I'm not really sure. What would I like to see? I don't know. Zebra's quite commonly requested. I think what are they called? Like gazelles or like I can't remember what they're called. I keep wanting to say something Bok, but I can't remember what the noise is before the Bok. It's not Arbok, that's a Pokemon. It's not Reebok, that's a shoe brand or something. Or trainer brand? Sport brand? I don't really know what they are, I'm gonna be honest. It's not Bok, that's the sound of chicken wings. This is the lamest joke in existence. Before we talk to you, Tortoman, I probably should have opened that present so we can actually clear things out. What are they called? Have they got like Tibox or something? Animal Bok. Springbok. That's not what I had in mind. This isn't even the animal. Oh, I was thinking of antelope. I mean, maybe a springbok is a type of antelope. I'm not really that well versed in like zoology, so you know, forgive me for that. Anyway, that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to be talking about Verm's Fighting Herds today. We are going to talk about, I don't know, I'm trying to think what else happened. I mean, it's just sort of like content updates which have been happening in games, which I guess is kind of cool to see. Any big things happening recently, things happening soon, like in the world. Low battery, apparently that's happening. Maybe I should change the batteries now. I probably should change the batteries now. We'll do it after Katarina's thing, because I forget, these are my non-drifty Joy-Cons, which I normally reserve for Happy in Paradise. So this is where I turn to our r/game subreddit and look at anything which I want to talk about. The Wii U emulator is now open source, that's kind of cool, I guess. A Telltale series. I didn't know there was... I forgot Telltale's games was even coming back. I don't know what this one's about, but it's called The Expanse. Sonic Frontiers. Return to Monkey Island? Where are all these game trailers coming from? I don't know what Friends Be Friends is, but that sounds like it's right up my alley. Splatoon 3? I don't know, none of us I want to talk about, so I guess we've got to sort of dive into the world of more abstract thought of what we can actually talk about. I'm not really sure. What can we talk about? I'm just sort of like looking around my room, just trying to think of things to talk about. Have I ever talked about Rubik's Cubes before? I've got some Rubik's Cubes in my room. This is where, you know, you go to the... You go to your YouTube channel, you go search for your content. It's apparently on 311 subscribers. I don't know where... I don't even remember what I was on last time, but... That seems pretty good. We never talked about Rubik's Cubes before. But it seems like... Or maybe I talked about speed cubing or something? Speed stack? Have I ever talked about speed stacks? Oh my god, there's so many things. I have talked about speed stacks, okay. Actually, I do remember I talked about speed stacks before. We don't know, it was basically like cup stacking. And I remember someone commenting, being like, oh, the speed stacking community is still like well alive and thriving. And I was like, oh, honestly, awesome. But no, we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about speed cubing, and at least Rubik's cubing, or whatever. You know, do you, like, you might not be privy to this if you don't know about Rubik's cubing, sorry, or speed cubing in general, but wasn't there like a whole not controversy, but like, that whole thing ages ago about the world record being broken, like, I think it was like 6 months ago now or something, like some random, it was completely just like random, like people didn't expect it, and it was the world record got absolutely demolished. So, but before the world record was broken most recently, I think the world record was around like 5 seconds or something for a 3x3 cube, solving it. And you might be like, if you don't know about speed cubing, you might be like, how the heck do you solve a Rubik's Cube in 5 seconds? Oh, well, it happens, and, you know, I'll get into that later. But then it happened that, like, in China, in, like, a random event, this guy was solving, and he looked... And basically what happened, it was like the sort of stars aligned in a solve, and it was like a thing which skipped out quite a few steps, and he was... You know, he was a decent speed cuber. He certainly wasn't like probably who you'd guess would get a world record. But, you know, sometimes, you know, things like these world record scenarios just need right time, right place. And he basically had he had a cube solve or something where he could skip out like a huge amount of steps or something. He just executed it incredibly quickly, and he absolutely smashed the record. And it's like 4.1 second now or something. Hold on, let me see if that's true. Rubik's Cube 3x3 world record 3.47 seconds. That's it. It got utterly just demolished, which was incredible. Like, I remember especially because at the time it was just like some random speed cubing event, and I don't think it was like a huge massive competition. I think it was just like a regional competition or something, and so there weren't like video cameras everywhere. The whole reason that there is video evidence of it happening is the fact that they took video evidence from the security cameras or something of the building it took place in, to sort of verify it, which is wild. But yeah, it was a 3.47 second solve or whatever, and people had a huge dance battle when it first got published, because they were just like, what on earth? How, you know, this, not only has a world record been broken, it's been utterly demolished. It's broken a border, like the 4 second border, which people wouldn't be thought to be broken for like ages, and there was like only photo evidence, there was no video evidence for a while. People were understandably, you know, kind of suspicious of it in the first place. You know, maybe there was some lying going on here, maybe this didn't actually happen, maybe it was a misrepresentation of the faulty timing, who knows. But then, you know, video evidence came out, and then people were just I think most of the whole is sort of like, okay, this did happen, it was just a miracle essentially. That's just kind of like a thing which happens, you know, isn't it? You know, you can, a lot of things are just right place, right time, and for that guy, I don't know his name, maybe I should actually find his name so I can actually talk about him with any sort of what's the word? With any sort of substance. Rubik's Cube world record holder, Yu Shengdu. Yeah, it's sort of like this absolutely miraculous thing, which isn't something which happens. I can't think of another sport which happens, which like a miracle could literally just happen to you, I suppose, when it comes to speedcubing. Because the way speedcubing works, at least, the way you solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, is actually a lot easier than you might think. You'll probably be able to pick it up in like an hour or so if you just like learn the instructions. It's basically a load of algorithms where you basically do a load of rotations, but you know, there's certain combinations of rotations which have fixed permutations of a cube, like the exact way you turn things, just because the way things cancel out with each other. Ends up doing things like maybe it like turns a corner around, maybe it switches two pieces, or whatever. It's basically a load of doing that. And to solve a Rubik's Cube, the basic rundown is what you do is you start by making a cross shape on one of the faces, so it's all the same colour, and making sure the edges are, because in a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, an important thing to note, which people don't really think about, is the centres never change. So the colour centres are always the same in relation to each other. You know, it's always, at least on my cube, it always goes white on the front, green at the top. Well, okay, not relatively to each other, you know, without loss in generality. White at the front, green at the top, orange on the side, pink on the left, orange on right, pink on the left, yellow on the bottom, and no, yellow at the back, blue on the bottom. Because white and yellow are always opposite each other, orange and red are, and so are green and blue. But yeah, that orientation is always the same. So what you can do is you first want to sort out all the edges basically on one layer, So you make a cross shape on one of the faces, but make sure the edges also line up with all the centers. Then what you do is you get the corner pieces of that layer into position by using this algorithm, which pushes basically a corner into one place, but without wrecking everything else. And I believe the way that algorithms work, actually, or why they work, is because it's like a repeated patterns over and over again, eventually sort of like repeat themselves, repeat states when you apply them to Rubik's Cube in like consecutive order or whatever. And then it's just like by making small adjustments, you can make him do different things along the algorithm. I don't know, it's probably very mathematical. I've actually, surprisingly, I've never actually looked into the maths behind a Rubik's Cube or how these sort of algorithms came to be developed. But I do remember that the beginner's method, as often called the one I'm describing right now, it was invented by just like some random guy wanting, like before it existed, it was like, there weren't like many tidy ways to solve Rubik's Cube, but this guy was like, okay, I just want there to be some sort of like, not foolproof way necessarily, well I guess it is kind of foolproof, but a kind of foolproof way to solve a Rubik's Cube which could be followable by anyone. I think he was just like some random university student or something. Anyway, he did it, so, good job to him. Why don't I find out his name? Let's see. Rubik's Cube beginner method inventor. No Rubik's, I don't know. Layer by layer method by David Singmaster. Is this one? Yeah. Okay. This is it. Okay. I didn't actually know it was called a layer by layer method. Oh, actually, while we're here in Raymond's house, we should try and buy those clothes from him. Let's play. Why not? So you try and save out a top cross. Often it's taught as the blue cross for whatever reason when you, at least in that sort of, booklet that came with my first Rubik's Cube I bought. I don't remember why I bought one. I remember I bought one from Toys R Us. Sorry, I'm starting so many like conversational threads. Oh, it's higher. The layer by layer method, okay, you make that layer and then you put in the edge pieces for the next layer, so then you've got to solve the bottom two layers, and then now you're left with your final layer. You have to turn it into a cross itself by using an algorithm. You have to, make sure that the parity of the edges in the cross work. And then you had to make sure all the corners are rotated in the right places, and then you had to make sure that they're rotated in the right direction. I forgot to switch the Joy-Cons, and maybe I'll do that afterwards. Oh, I didn't realise we gave you that Western shirt. I had no idea we gave it to you. Can we take your fish? She's one of your best friends. You know what, fair enough. Well, I don't really want to buy anything else, I'm going to be honest. It's a bit weird buying a Western shirt back, but your fashion choice is your fashion choice, Raymond. Oh, you got your glasses. That's very nice. Anyway, that's how you solve Rubik's Cube. So yeah, hold on. Let me think about what I was even talking about. So I first learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I don't even remember why. I think I must have stumbled across Speedcubers or something on YouTube. I remember there was this YouTuber called Me, Myself and Pi, who I don't know if he still makes videos. Actually, why don't we just Google if he, or YouTube if he still makes videos, who I watched, stumbled across. There was also some other people, but I don't remember. And I think I was just curious one day, being like, I wonder if I can figure out how to solve a Rubik's Cube. 187 videos. Six years ago. He hasn't uploaded since. Who knows what happened to him? To be fair, he probably just, got bored and dipped out one day. Fair enough, can't really blame him. But I must have just stumbled across some random videos and just been like, I wonder if I can learn how to solve Rubik's Cube. And I remember I went to a Toys R Us, my family, because we had to drive there and there was no way I could walk there. It was really far away from where I recorded. And also I think that Toys R Us is shut down now, which was a bit of a shame. But I went to a Toys R Us and I picked up a Rubik's Cube. It was a terrible Rubik's Cube, but it came with a little booklet inside of it, basically teaching you the beginner's method and how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And I remember me trying to figure out how to solve it, like before I left for school one day or something. No, like the first time I solved it, I thought like I should write down how long it takes me to actually solve it. First time I solved it, it took me like 10 minutes following with a booklet to solve it. And then I remember like practicing, continuously practicing on like one day before school, trying to do it, like trying to solve it like with a thing, and my dad being like, hey, we got to get to school, you're going to be late otherwise. And I was like, oh no. So I went to school and I came back and I finished that solve. And then I remember I kept this like piece of paper where I kept track of basically how long it took me to solve the Rubik's Cube, and I had the date, I had like the time it took me, and I had a thing where I was like, did I use a booklet or not? I can't remember what other columns I had in my database, but database isn't a bit grandiose to call it a database, I think. But and I remember how happy I was, and it was the first time I found out how to when I figured out basically how to solve it without using a booklet, because the booklet basically lists down all the algorithms you need. You don't really need algorithms at the beginning, but you start needing them when you get to the later stages of them, solving Rubik's Cube. And yeah, so I learned how to solve Rubik's Cube, and then during my school time, Rubik's Cubes kind of became a thing, you know. This, along with speed stacks, I somehow premeditated it becoming a fad in my school. Those are the only 2 times I think it's happened, but still. Still waiting on the day those gacha games become popular in school, even though I'm not in school anymore, but you know what I mean. Well, I can't remember. I think it started obviously with a maths department, because what other department would it start with? Well, they wanted to like break world record of most people simultaneously solving Rubik's Cube, which is you know, they were just like, okay, so let's try and teach as many people to solve Rubik's Cube as possible. And as you can imagine, I was in year 7 at the time, you know, I already knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube, so I was like, I know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I think at the time, I might have been one of the only people who knew, maybe the only person who knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube. But yeah, I was in year 7, and I was just sort of, you know, being like, oh yeah, no, I do know how to solve Rubik's Cube, and then it became sort of like a fad, where people just like learn how to do it. So, you know, for a golden moment, I was the fastest at knowing how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and I got quickly overtaken by people who actually, you know, committed more time to, you know, speed solving, which I was not that interested in. I just kind of like the sort of fad of knowing how to solve it, I suppose, in the first place, as like a party trick. I don't really know what else to say. But yeah, I remember that then we had like school societies based around like Rubik's Cube. We had like a Rubik's Cube club or Speedcubing club, probably because Rubik's Cube is a trademark term, I'd imagine. So, you know, you probably can't call it that. I remember there was one point we tried to make like our school logo out of like Rubik's Cubes, and everyone who came to the society was given like a 3x3 grid to be like, this is a pattern you had to make, and then we had to sort of like assemble them all together. I don't know if anything ever came of that. I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of people came to a club and a lot of people participated in the record. Like, I still have my Guinness World Record certificate sitting on my windowsill, which has since been utterly demolished by way of most people solving but most people solving Rubik's Cubes at one venue is 134 at venue, which I'm not going to say, back in 2010. My word. And it was to certify that I was a participant in it. And I remember the day of, like, we were in the school hall, and everyone had like an individual chair that like they were assigned to. Everyone had like a number they were assigned to, and inside the cube was a scrambled Rubik's Cube. It was like in a plastic sleeve, and everyone had like a number as well that went with it. And then it was just like, you know, blah blah blah. The time starts now. There was a huge amount of us, obviously, like 100 and something. Most of us were year 7s, which is basically first year of high school. No, maybe that's first year of middle school for American terminology. I'm not really sure. I was 12. To give you was 12 or 13? I was around that age. To give you some sort of idea. Wait, I must have been 13. Yeah, that was in 2010. Oh no, it wasn't my birthday yet, so I was 12. So most of us were in year 7. And in our school, we had like 180 people in year 7. So, you know, I'd guess about 100 was year 7. And like in the older years, there were some other people who were, you know, interested in that sort of thing. And, you know, because, you know, year 7s, they're certainly the most eager to participate in something like this. And I remember it was such a big, like, tense situation. And then, you know, we were just like, your time starts now. You know, you get the cube out of a plastic sleeve, you solve it, and then what you do is you I forgot you were ill, Rowan, yesterday. We were meant to get you medicine. You go, we were in a hall, which we had like a hall. We were in the area where there was seating arrangements. I've also forgot to change the Joy-Cons. And then when you're done, you're meant to go up to the stage, basically, and like wait behind the curtains, so you can get registered to sort of like validate that you actually solved a cube. And obviously we weren't allowed booklets or anything. You just like had to solve it. And I remember I actually was the third person to solve a cube. Who knows if I was actually third to finish, because I was like on the far end of the hall, so I had like a long way to walk. And I remember actually, this person won't remember it in the slightest, but I still remember who was the fastest. And I heard a story that actually one of my friends was the second fastest, which is wild to think about. But I was third fastest, and I remember like as I finished solving, I was walking to the hall, and I passed someone else who finished solving, and then he was very I forgot I was meant to buy medicine. He was very nice about it, being like, oh yeah, you should go before me, because you're already like on your way when I finish solving, so you definitely finished solving before me. So, you know, otherwise, you know, he could have just overtaken me, and I would have been the fourth person to finish solving at Rubik's Cube. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter being second or third or whatever, because you only got interviewed if you were the fastest solver of a Rubik's Cube. He was probably like in the local newspaper or something. You know, he had his face on the school website. You know, did I have my face on the school website? No, but I got my face on the school website for other things, mainly maths challenges, I'm going to be honest. But it was rather interesting, is probably what I'd say. Or at least a rather interesting experience. And I remember that we just sort of like waited a long time sort of backstage as my friends started pouring in, you know, maybe like 27th or like 60th or something, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, we're all chatting, having a good time. And I remember as well, some older students like coming in being, I remember this older guy just like came in, not older guy, he was, I would guess he was around GCSE age, so he was probably around 16, 17, 15, somewhere in 14 to 17 range. And then he was like talking to a friend, and then his friend was like, oh, did you actually like solve the cube? And he was like, no, I forgot how to do it. And that was like, we were like half an hour in, which, you know, at the time I was like, come on, you can solve a cube. But then also, you know, looking back in retrospect, that guy was probably like doing GCSEs at the same time, you know, probably not too long after mocks. He's got like more important things to be thinking about than learning how to solve Rubik's cubes. The fact that he even tried to give it a go in the first place and, you know, turned up, I think that's the impressive part. Anyway, the world record got certified. I think since it's been smashed, I think the world record is now like in the thousands or something. So, but I think it's a really cool thing that our maths teachers organised, or that to even, you know, exist in the first place. And, you know, the fact it's still got a lasting legacy. I know I still got that certificate on my windowsill. I know a lot of my friends still have a certificate as well. And you might be like, Guinness World Records don't really matter. Yeah, they kind of really don't. But, you know, when you're young and a kid, it's a fun thing just to sort of participate in. But Guinness World Records, a lot of them are quite arbitrary and don't really matter in the first place. You can kind of get, if you find something niche enough, you can get a world record in anything. But it's all just a little bit of fun, isn't it? And especially when you're a 12-year-old, that is pretty fun. You know, why not? Is all I can really say. But anyway, yeah, so I think I really spurned an interest for some, I would say from about year 7 to year 9, where I had a passing interest in Rubik's Cubes. I wasn't particularly concerned with basically being like the fastest at solving it. I remember the people who were, the group who was in my school who like were really concerned with being like the fastest, and they were like constantly competing with each other. I was friendly with them, you know, I was friends with them, and I would certainly say, but, you know, I was never too concerned. I think the fastest I ever got myself down to was like 20 seconds or something. I don't think I got any faster than that. And that's pretty impressive, you know, if you want any speed cubing. If you are knowledgeable about speed cubing, was because I never learned OLL or POL. I only ever learned F12, and I just got a lucky solve once, and I got it in bed down to like 20 something seconds. So, you know, you would be like, what's OLL, PLL, and F2L? F2L is basically, after doing the initial cross, you do the next 2 layers at the same time. OLL is, OLL and PLL are like time-saving steps in the final, solving the final layer, where the OLL just like arranges all the colours, all the correct colour to be facing upwards, and POL arranges all the pieces to be in the right place. The reason it's not top beginning method is because there's like 50 different algorithms you need to learn and recognise. So it's only when you're really trying to min-max. But I had a speed cube, right? I don't know what cube I even solved it on. I remember also like the tip for being like how to make your speed cubes faster or whatever. Like obviously, my recommendation, if you're getting into speed cubing, like buy an actual like speed cubing brand sort of cube. Don't buy an actual Rubik's cube, obviously. Rubik's cubes are not very fast; they're pretty terrible. But you can make them faster by rubbing Vaseline all over the inside, so they sort of like are lubricated in that sense. But no, you know, no, like I bought some. Like, I think when I went to China, there was just like a huge amount of them for whatever reason. Bought a load of weird ones. Like I bought like a Mega Minx. I bought like a Pyraminx. The Mega Minx is still my favourite. It's basically just kind of like a 3x3, but you know, add another sort of not dimension necessarily, but kind of dimension. So it's not easier to solve than you might think. Got all these sort of like weird cubes to solve. But I literally think they're all in a box just under my bed, which is wild to think about. They're still there, but yeah, for a period of my life, I was pretty into speedcubing, that sort of thing. I followed this sort of thing. You might be like, oh, what's your favourite speedcube company? At the time, it was VCube. I don't know, VCubes are still making things. And I only liked them because I liked the inverted colour cubes, where they had the white plastic and the black stickers on top of them. And they just kept making bigger and bigger and bigger cubes, including like I remember when they released like 11 by 11 or something, everyone was like, whoa, I don't know if that's still a thing, but VCube 7 I remember was the go-to VCube, the go-to 7 by 7 cube or something. VCube Classics, and maybe they never released it 11 by 11, it only seems like it goes up to a 9 by 9. I feel like I have a memory of them releasing like a 13 by 13 or something. Maybe it was an April Fool's joke. Maybe that was what. I don't really know. But yeah, anyway, Rubik's Cubes ended up being more of a thing in our school. I remember, like, I think we might have even got sponsored by Rubik's Cubes for a little bit, because I remember, like, all the forms, they got, like, these Rubik's Cubes toys to be able to play with, like, during wet play. They gave you, like, a Rubik's Cube. They gave you, like, a Rubik's 360, which is a really interesting one, which was not really about algorithms. It was more about, like, balance and, like, turning things in just the right way to actually properly solve it. They gave a Vivo, which was basically... It wasn't a cube, emphasitis. It was just like a 6-sided cube. It's basically a cube with a button on each side, and you can play games with it, like Simon Says sort of games. I remember there's one moment where it's basically one of the lights will light up, and you basically had to press that light as quickly as possible, and then you get a short amount of time to press it as like the levels, as the more lights you press, more buttons you press. And I remember we got like 6 of us all together, sort of like sitting around the cube. trying to beat get the highest score possible by sort of like cheating the system. Yeah, but then I got kind of bored of like speedcubing, you know. The speedcubing part wasn't very interesting to me. The weird gimmicky part was always more interesting, of like having all these weird cubes and that sort of thing. But then I stopped, like, you know, being interested in like past year 9 or so. But then like I think it was around sixth form, like university had like a bit of a resurgence in like my a friend group, or overlap of a friend group is perhaps a better way to say it. And you know, some people were just like ordering some cubes, and I think I can't remember if I joined in, like ordering also from the same site, or like joined in their order as well. But I got these. I seen their Chinese cubes. I don't even. Oh gosh. Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't normally put my Steam controller there anymore because it's not so accessible. Now mic stands in the way. I don't even know what brand this is. I'm gonna be honest. I can't even read what it says on the front. I think it says Morfang Wenhua, maybe. Is a Wenhua cube a thing? Morfang Wenhua. Oh, this is it. Hold on. Moyu Wenhua. Moyu Wenhua Rubik's Cube, which I got literally just for the aesthetic. I have like the pastel coloured ones, and that's literally the entire reason I bought these Rubik's Cubes in the first place. And you know, you can hear the very satisfying noise of them turning. Doesn't that sound nice? I mean, should I see if I can solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube right now? It's been a while, so, you know. Who knows if I can actually do it? But, you know, you might be like, why aren't you doing it on camera? Well, you know, I haven't set up my camera, and I'm not going to show you that. You're just going to sort of trust my instinct, as you can hear the ASMR of me solving Rubik's Cube right now. You know, I always said it would be a funny thing to do, to, like, solve a crossword in the middle of an Animal Crossing episode. Now, well, I suppose the first, like, cross-promotional game thing is I'm going to be solving Rubik's Cube in the middle of an Animal Crossing episode. But let me just get in front of the town hall. Oh, sorry, resident services, because that's when I tend to do these sort of things. So I just sort of just like push myself up here. Okay, now let's solve this. Okay, I always like to solve this one the first way, because a similar sort of way, because the white center has the logo on it, which can be oriented in a specific way, and I always want to make sure that it's oriented in the same way as all the other cubes. So it's always the white logo. If you're looking at it on the upwards position, the top face will be the green face. And I can still remember how to do this. It's amazing. Amazing? That's how you speak. It's amazing the sort of like muscle memory you develop for solving Rubik's Cubes. It never really goes away, huh? It's kind of there with you forever. Where is this green pink edge? There it is. Couldn't see it there for a second. Got very confused. But really, like, F2L I always quite like. If anything, like, it suits me a lot better, the F2L sort of method for solving Rubik's Cube, because it's much more about sort of logically figuring out where to put pieces and how to move things, rather than necessarily algorithms, which I find very boring. And I remember trying to teach my friend how to solve how to do F2L like at one point when we were in school. I remember we were just like outside the cafeteria. I don't know why we were in that particular position. It was basically me trying to teach him how to solve how to do F2L. I don't know if I actually successfully taught him or not. Oh no, we got one of these really annoying ending things. It's a great thing about solving Rubik's Cube is using the beginner method or the layer by layer method. The last thing you have to do is basically just repeat the same algorithm over and over and over again to align the corner pieces all facing the right direction, and there we go, I'm done. I don't know how long that took. I'm going to guess that took me about a minute or so. But yeah, speedcubing. I don't know, you know, give it a try if you're interested in that sort of thing. I'm on the Moyu site. Someday I should get because I have a 2x2 for 3x3 and 4x4. Someday maybe I should get a 5x5, a 6x6, 7x7. It'd be pretty cool. I don't know what another puppet cube is. Oh, this one has a cute pastel colour. What the heck's a Mei Long? I don't even know what brand my one is. I wonder if I even sell it anymore. 11x11. Why on earth would you need 11x11 cubing ones? Crystal cube? Anyway, I'm going to look at this in my own time. I'm going to round off this episode here. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares, I greatly appreciated. Join my Dear Darling Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Bye-bye for now.